Here's some rocket porn for you guys. uh, this is some of the bigger multi-stage rockets I'll be shooting on the 4th. Um, this these two are both the same headers, really the same rocket. Um, what you'll see is it has a big 1-inch stick on it, and if you look close, you can see that there's a spline that runs the full length of the stick. What I did is I plowed a groove down the inside of this stick the full length, and then I glued this spline in, which is only like a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, and that leaves a hollow cavity inside this tube, and that's all filled with flash powder. And up inside here, these are of course where the 3-pound motors are, where the stick attaches to this wood junction block. There's a spoolette that goes inside the tube. It's a 3-inch paper, I think it's 5/16 inside and 1/2 inch on the outside spoolette. So it gets ignited when the fire transfers up here, and I believe I have a 7-second delay on it, if I remember right. And then there's another spoolette that feeds this header, and that allows it to coast a little longer in the air, because I don't have a lot of delay in these short 7-inch tubes. So that'll give it enough delay so that when it goes up in the air, it will kind of arch over like a horsetail shell, and it will spew out, some sodium glitter, and it has a sodium riser effect as well that goes as it flies through the air. But inside of it, it has some whistle inserts, and they have a delayed effect, so it looks like a nice pretty horsetail shell, and then all mayhem breaks out and they will all crash at the same time. And all the inserts have TI in the tail in them. I made 3 of these all at the same time, and I already shot one of them. It was a test one, and it did great. This one is dedicating one to my wife's mother that passed away a few years ago. We called her Bunny, which is why and her favorite color was blue, so that's the reason for the picture on it. But these have 4 3-pound motors on it with some tube busters. It has 4 tube busters on there as well. These got the motors, 2 of them that are booster motors are canted out at an angle. Again, the stick is your bottom shot, and the whole stick shatters, so there's nothing to hit the ground, and the tube buster just has to break up the tubes and the wood support. But the stick buster also goes in between the tubes as well, so it by itself is going to break them up pretty good. This also has a rising tail effect. This top hat pops off, and it's ignited before anything else is ignited. So the shell is actually about this big, and it's a stack of crossettes and blue cut stars in the center, and it's all Heart 1 formula. And this is a big heavy boy. I think I can't remember how much it weighs, but I think it's in the 6 to 7 pound range. This is like I guess you could call it a hammer heading, I guess. This kind of breaks up like one of TR's designs, where he uses gum tape as a casing, if you will, and uses a flash bag to break it. What I have on these is they're big spiral tubes. I think they're 1.25 inches on the inside, and I have a 3/8 spoolette with Sally Fuel and TI, and it's canted at an angle in them, so when the spoolette burns, it spins them and flops around kind of like a Hummer does, but it doesn't spin fast enough to hum. It just kind of looks crazy in the air. And they're all timed to go off one at a time sequentially, and then this is the bottom shot. And it also has a spoolette that's canted, so it's just a larger size spoolette. So it'll be a cool little rocket. Again, it's 2 motors. I don't have a stick buster or anything on this. The sticks are kind of lightweight design, and I think it'll be fine, but we'll see. And then this shell here, it's got 4 motors. I like this design out of all of them as far as the 4 motor design. I've done this one before. Again, this stick blows apart. It goes up in between the 4 motors, blows them apart pretty good. It doesn't really shatter the tubes into little confetti, but it does at least break them all apart. This has got a round ball shell that basically, to explain it, it's a heart shell. You know, the shells look like a heart, and they're strobes, so they pulsate. And the outside of the casing, I glued a crackle to the outside edges of it, and so it makes a nice hemispherical crash when they all crash at the same time. It's got rising effect on it as well. And this is one that I'm pretty sure nobody's ever seen before. This is the 5th time I've done this, and they all have worked out really, really great, but they take a long time to make. It's kind of hard to tell what I've done here, but these are all spoolettes in here. There's a bunch of them, and you can see I got them all canted in there. And this spins freely from the shaft. It has a shaft that goes up inside here. This instant fuse is what holds it on, but as soon as the rocket ignites, this instant fuse burns away, and 1 row of these, the bottom row, will get this thing spinning, and it's got TI in it. My Sally Fuel screams like a son of a gun in these style of tubes. It's really ear piercing, and you got 4 of these spinning, and it's just crazy sounding. Takes, I think, 5 seconds for it to get through there, and then it transfers over to these, then these burn. And before this reaches apex, because I have these canted at 3.5 degrees as well as being canted to the tube, it has enough thrust that it lifts itself away from this, and it actually flies on its own. And the gyroscopic effect keeps it, the momentum keeps it all going. And this is filled with flash, and then this tube inside here has a spoolette that's timed, and that blows this part up. So it has a lot going on in such a little sucker. But and this is a real powerful motor. It lifts it pretty high in the air. And I have a whole bunch of other rockets I'll show in another video. These are just some of the bigger size ones that have multi-motors, and then this crazy nut job.